Welcome to episode 29 of YOUx2, where we're on an adventure of getting to know the two of us that are living this human experience, this little human character that we're playing here, and that actor behind this character, a powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being that's made of unconditional love. Hey everybody, it's your Bretta Zen, and I'm a wake-up artist. My passion is helping us understand who we really are, and also of that relationship that we have with the Creator and with the spirit realm. I love how in the episode so far up to this point, Spirit has given us so many different perspectives on our relationship between our higher self and our shadow self here. And in this episode, they wanted to give us some advice, give us some information on how we can deal with all that confusion that just floods in to our human minds when we are faced with all those rights and wrongs that are out there in the human world. There has always been conflict in this world. Probably as soon as there were two humans that were existing here, there was conflict was immediately sparked and born into the world. These last couple of years have really shown us how there can be such division and conflict in the world, whether it's how you handle a pandemic, how you run a country, how you interact with each other around racial things, and just all these conflicts from all over the place. And some people chose loving, peaceful ways to approach it, others more fear-based approaches. But after all, opinions are like poop chutes, right? Everyone's got one. And each human is gifted with a wonderful shadow side that's designed to compare and contrast things out there in the human world. Contrast is a beautiful way to really understand the stark differences between two opposing elements. If everything was bright light, we wouldn't know it, or know where things began and things ended. The same would be true if everything was dark shadow. But coming here to experience the contrast between two worlds allows us to see the beautiful picture of what really is, who we really are. We have popular opinions of what should be, what's supposed to be, needs to be, has to be, must be, that are passed down from generation to generation. And though we might alter them eventually over time here and there, usually parents have already passed on those opinions before they've had a chance to really do any inner reflection and alter them any. I have a theory that grandparents and grandchildren tend to get along more easily than with their parents because grandparents have usually gone through a couple of more decades of that inner reflection, where they're not as attached to the opinions of the outside world like they were when they were younger. They might also have realized how unproductive it is trying to invest energy out there and trying to change people's minds. I say that because it seems that we don't change from the outside in, we more change from the inside out. Because how do you feel when people try to change your mind? Are you like open-minded and just inviting all of those opinions in and ready just to dump all of your beliefs and your thoughts, out and just accept everything that everyone else has to say? When we're not in fear, we are pretty stubborn and really stand by our guns for all those opinions that we had that we learned from our earlier years when we were being developed emotionally from birth to 7 years old and mentally from 7 to 14. Where we can be manipulated into acting certain ways and be more easily influenced by the pack mentality is when we're drawn out into our fears, when we go into that fight or flight mode because we're no longer thinking clearly, We're no longer making decisions from an emotionally mature place or with our wisdom and knowledge. All that is pushed out. We are acting in an animalistic, reactionary survival mode instead. And that is, evidently seen when we see a mob mentality take over, because someone has triggered a group of people by focusing on their fears and convinced them that they would be more safe with this group and moving and taking the actions that they are pronouncing to do. And unfortunately, because no one's thinking clearly, the actions that everyone's taking in the moment of fear, they might end up regretting later, because maybe someone was hurt, either physically or emotionally, or they had said things and done things illegally that they're going to get busted for, right? But you don't realize all of that until after we've calmed down and we're out of fear. But that's the key. That's the tough thing to do when there's mob mentality is taking place, because those master manipulators are not allowing people to calm down, because they'll try to keep you perpetually in fear in order to keep control over you. And I'm not meaning to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you might see some of these actions from governments and politicians of nations, some pharmaceutical companies, retail companies, weapons manufacturers, food producers. Really, anywhere someone is trying to make money or have control over others. They try to find out what is important to you and then try to activate the fear within you that you're going to lose that thing if you don't join their cause or buy their products. Or you fear that you'll be rejected or hurt by everyone else if you don't fit in with the crowd around you. And the news, of course, keeps us a lot in that loop of fear too, because they do not focus on the unconditionally loving, unfear things. They focus on fear, 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 the economy, weather destruction, wars, murder, danger, danger, danger. So that keeps us in that, that loop of going over and over again. And, we are inundated through our eyes and our ears of all the fear things that are going on around us. And those things really don't change our minds. They really are taking us out of our minds, right? Because when we go into that fight or flight mode, that little child self inside of us surges all of the blood out of our brain, not all of it, but a lot of the blood out of our brain, to our hands to fight and to our legs to run, and for that fight or flight. So, we don't think clearly, we don't act clearly, we don't act normally. So if you look at like family or friends or people around you, or notice it in yourself when you're not acting normal, it's because we're not acting normal. We're reacting in a more animalistic survival mode way. So when you look around the world, you can literally see that we are out of our minds. As I mentioned, we don't change from the outside in, we change from the inside out. And it isn't our minds that actually change, it's our heart that changes, because we're not thinking beings who feel, we're emotional beings who think. So in order to change the outside world, we change hearts, not minds. And how do we change hearts? We love others unconditionally. Simple, right? And of course, life is more simple than our shadow makes it out to be. Every moment is of unconditional love of the higher realms, or the fear of losing conditional love of the human side. We have these small t truths, which are the opinions of fear of the human existence, and the capital T truths, those that are rooted in the unconditional love of the higher realms. And we come here on purpose to experience the small t truths so we understand more clearly what those capital T truths are all about. It's like breathing oxygen. Right now we're breathing oxygen, and earlier in our life when we were breathing oxygen, we didn't even realize we're doing that because we had not experienced anything to challenge that. But when we're 6 feet underwater, looking up at air, looking up at oxygen, we're going, oh, that's air because this is non-air. So by experiencing its opposite, we more fully understand what it is. So looking at it that way, neither is right, neither is wrong. They're just different. They're opposite. But the battle of wrong and right rages all around us, with individuals trying to prove that their small t truths that are rooted in fear are more true than other individuals' small t truths that are also rooted in fear. Fear, fear, fear all around us, inviting us out into the storm, where, of course, our fight or flight kicks in, sucking us out of our brain, going out of our minds, and we feel confused. We just feel like we want to fight or run and hide. So much going on in the outside world, people crying for the right thing to be done. But there's so many different opinions on what that right thing is. It seems conflict has become our new norm. So what do we do? Well, the first thing is we need to calm down. Because until we calm down, we're not going to be able to think clearly, act clearly, love clearly, because we're out of our minds. But doing some deep breathing does help our bodies flush out that adrenaline that's been activated through the fight or flight. And so doing things that bring calm, that we know that is best for our bodies. Breathing usually helps everyone, but the things that help you calm. And then putting reminders around you so that when we get sucked back out into all that storm of fear that's actively seems to be swirling around out there in the world, that we can come back quicker to a place of peace instead. One thing I used to do, and I do every now and then, occasionally even now, is I'll set a vibration alarm on my phone to go off like every hour, reminding me to breathe and to come back to this moment. And that has seemed to work for me. And then when I'm back to thinking clearly, I try to remember that all that conflict out there is actually happening for me, not happening to me. Because if everyone had the same fearful, small t truths in the outside world, we might continue over and over and over again, reinforce that. But because one group has different small t truths of fear than another group, that conflict brings it to our attention. It almost wakes us up, because the human can only stand so much warring with each other before they go sick and tired of being sick and tired of feeling all that division and all that strife that's going on. And so it does turn us to look inward, where we find the unconditional love and the capital T truths. I also try to remember what it is that is most important to me. When we look and go to the very, very root of things, what every human being is looking for is just love and acceptance, unconditional love and acceptance that we have back home. When you look at all the conflicts that are going on, whether it's I want my, right to have weapons be protected, other people are wanting to have their children and other people be safe and not be killed by weapons, but some people want both. And you get to the root of those, the little child self inside just wants to feel safe, right? Also, depending on what side of, abortion that you're on, if you individuals want to have the right to control their bodies, other people have concerns about the little babies. And at the root of all that, it's about concern about being in control, feeling safe again. No matter what it is, taxes, political parties, racial injustices, just all the stuff, all the division, all the conflict that we have going on out there. When you get to the root of every single situation that's going on, you will come down to that everyone is seeking the same thing. They want love, they want acceptance, they want safety, they want to feel in control because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. Otherwise, their little child self inside is sounding the alarms and going into fear. But when each side tries to change each other's minds, then we go into like a mental or physical battle because our emotions have sparked us into that fight or flight mode. So we're either fighting or we're running or we're fighting and then running. But when we get to that root and see that we're all the same at our core and what we're looking for, then we can find that common ground. We can love, 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 and change hearts. Because when we think without love, 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 we go out of our minds. And that seems to have progress, right? Not. When I'm in doubt of what I want to grow in my life, what I want to believe in, what I want to focus on in my life, I have kind of a litmus test that I use. I try to use, and that is knowing that if it's of unconditional love, then I know that is of the Creator, of God, of Source, whatever you believe your higher power is. Unconditional love is of the higher realm. If there's any fear involved in it at all, that fearful thing is of the human ego, of the human shadow, of that human side of ourselves. And I even use that when I look into spiritual text and spiritual studies, because if there's a human involved, chances are that there's going to be some fear intermeshed in there. It's like a little child who's gotten a hold of the holy books and with its crayon has written in and intermeshed its own little fear beliefs and colored its own thing in there. In episode 5 of this YOUx2 series, I also have like an I am meditation series, which helps me connect to that unconditional love of the higher realm and realize that I am made of unconditional love. Also allows me to fill up and allows that unconditional love to flow out to the world and also see that the world is made of unconditional love. So I will pin that down below, or I'll put a link down in the description box of this video if you want to go check that out, because it was really helpful for me as well. I hope that this resonated with you and that it brought you a little bit of peace into the midst of this storm that we're in, this perfect storm called the human life. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at what it is that we can do personally in order to reverse the pattern of fear in the world. In the meantime, if you are looking for more messages of love from above, in addition to these YOUx2 videos, I also put out weekly energy updates for each of the zodiac signs, monthly readings for each of the zodiac signs, and several other types of videos throughout the month. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those and be notified immediately when they become available, if you give this video a little thumbs up and click the like button, also click the subscribe button, that's going to give you access to the notification bell. And when you go in there, if you select the all option, then you will be notified of any new videos that come out on this channel. Also, doing those things, that helps spread the love and it helps my channel grow in significant ways, because when you like a video, share a video, comment on a video, and subscribe to the channel, doing those things makes the YouTube algorithm so excited it does want to share the videos of this channel with other people as well. So if you feel inspired to do any of those things, I am very, very grateful. Also, all the personal readings that I put out, those actually are general readings, but I do offer personal readings if you want more specific information and answers for your specific life. And all that information is listed in the description box below. In fact, I have put out a sliding scale for recorded personal readings that give you an option to choose what price point that you want. So it gives you a little more flexibility on what you can afford for personal readings, because I know all of our income is different and we have different challenges. So I wanted to offer that flexibility. Beautiful people, as you go throughout this next week, please know that every second of every day of your life that you are truly unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing week. We'll be talking soon. In the meantime, you hang in there and you take care.